When news quietly broke that Brad Pitt's lost Feliz mansion had been burglarized, it barely made a ripple in the media. No screaming headlines, no 24 hours coverage, and definitely no viral frenzy. Just a few vague reports and a whole lot of silence. But for a celebrity of his stature, that kind of quiet is loud. Especially when you realize how secure, how private, and how obsessively protected his life has become since the drama with Angelina. This wasn't some random house. In Hollywood, this was one of the most heavily guarded properties in Los Angeles, owned by one of the most recognizable men on the planet. So how did someone break in, get out, and vanish without a trace, at least publicly? What's more disturbing is how quickly the whole thing was swept under the rug. No police press conference, no exclusive interviews, and absolutely no comment. From Pitt himself, insiders started whispering almost immediately. Something's off. It wasn't just what was taken. It was how little effort was made to explain it. That's when people started digging. Because when you zoom out, the break looks less like a random crime and more like the first clue in a much deeper, much darker story. One filled with old grudges, hidden secrets, and eerie coincidences that make you wonder, was this ever just about a burglary? And what happens when the truth finally slips through the cracks? It happened late at night when the neighborhood was quiet, the city asleep, and the stars tucked behind blackout curtains. An unidentified intruder bypassed the gates of Brad Pitt's estate, slipped through one of LA's most exclusive streets, and found a way inside a property that's supposed to be impenetrable. The LAPD confirmed the burglary the following day, but barely gave any details. There was no follow-up, no list of stolen items, no leads made public. Just one chilling line: the investigation is ongoing. Now, think about that. Brad Pitt, an actor known worldwide, has his home broken into, and no one seems to care. For fans and even some reporters, the silence spoke louder than the crime. Normally, the paparazzi would have been swarming. TMZ would have been camped outside. Instead, the story was pushed aside almost, as if someone wanted it forgotten before it was ever fully discovered. Some say this isn't the first time. Pitt's property has been targeted, but it's the first time it's made the news. Could this be part of a longer pattern that's only now coming to light? Or was this one so serious that it couldn't be hidden anymore? Whatever the case, the deeper you go, the weirder it gets. And we're just getting started. Brad Pitt didn't pick Los Feliz by accident. This isn't just an upscale neighborhood. It's one of LA's hidden fortresses. Celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio, Kristen Stewart, and countless producers live here for one reason: privacy. With its winding roads, high walls, and dense trees, Los Feliz is designed to keep people out and secrets in. But that illusion of safety has started to crack. Over the past year, the area has seen a surge in high-end burglary, so much so that private security companies have started patrolling full dash time. It's not just opportunists breaking into mansions. Law enforcement quietly suspects these are targeted strikes. Some even believe there's a celebrity burglary ring, a coordinated group that stalks, studies, and breaks into the homes of the rich and famous. The break-ins follow a pattern: homes known to be vacant, security systems timed or bypassed, and personal items taken, not just valuables. And Pitt's home fits the profile perfectly. A high-value target, mostly unoccupied. A place holding years of private history, both public and deeply personal. So was this just a coincidence? Or was he added to someone's list? A list built not for cash, but for leverage. Because sometimes, what's stolen isn't Goldie's silence. Since his explosive breakup with Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt has practically disappeared. Sure, he makes the occasional red carpet appearance or shows up in a polished GQ shoot, but for the most part, he's been living off-grid. The sprawling Los Feliz mansion, once filled with laughter, kids, and A-list guests, became a quiet, shadowy shell of its former self. Some say he spends most of his time at a vineyard in France, while others claim he's hiding out in desert, retreats, or remote cabins far from prying eyes. The divorce wasn't just a public split, it was a war. Custody battles, accusations, courtroom drama. And through it all, Pitt became more and more withdrawn. Friends say he's grown distrustful, even paranoid. He's let go of old staff, rebuilt his security team. Some insiders claim he's been obsessed with privacy, installing advanced surveillance systems, encryption software, and even Faraday cages to block signals. So why keep a home he barely uses? Especially one loaded with memories of a former life. Some believe it's more than nostalgia, that the house holds things physical or digital that Pitt doesn't want to destroy, but doesn't want to expose either, which makes the timing of the break-in feel less random and more like someone knew exactly where to strike. Brad Pitt's estate isn't just protected, it's fortified. According to multiple reports, the Los Feliz mansion has undergone several custom security upgrades over the years. We're talking biometric locks, infrared motion tracking, hidden cameras, and reinforced entry points that most people only see. In spy movies, it's not just Hollywood vanity, it's a necessary shield for someone with Pitt's level of fame, fortune, and past legal drama. Which is why the break-in didn't just rattle fans, because when even your most guarded spaces can be breached from within, the real question becomes, how much do you actually control? Brad Pitt's burglary isn't some isolated freak event. It's part of a pattern, one that's quietly becoming all too common among Hollywood's inner circle. Over the past 18 months, a growing number of A-list celebrities have experienced eerily similar break-ins. Drake, Keanu Reeves, Kendall Jenner, even reality TV stars. Different homes, same style of entry, same eerie lack of physical evidence. And more importantly, almost identical media silence. Law enforcement initially brushed off the cases as high-end thefts, but behind the scenes, private security firms and insiders started connecting dots. Theories surfaced about a coordinated network possibly involving former house staff, paparazzi informants, and even rogue IT specialists. These aren't typical thieves looking for jewelry. They're looking for leverage. Cloud passwords, confidential recordings, hard drives, personal journals, things that can't be replaced, but can absolutely be weaponized. Brad's name being added to this list didn't shock some insiders that confirmed their worst fears. He fits the pattern. High profile, recently secluded, and surrounded by years of personal baggage. But there's a twist. While others had small valuables taken, Brad's incident allegedly involved personal archives. That detail changes everything. It means someone knew exactly what they wanted and they knew where to find it. Which begs the question, how many of these robberies are really about theft? And how many are about secrets someone's desperate to collect? Among all the celebrity homes in LA, why Brad Pitt's? He's not the richest. He's not the most followed. He's not even the most visible these days. But what he does have, according to those close to him, something far more valuable. Buried history. Decades of unspoken scandals. Fallout from high-profile relationships. Ties to people with power and grudges. In Hollywood, that's pure gold. Insiders say Pitt's personal vault, digital and physical, may include everything from handwritten letters with Angelina to confidential contracts, old scripts with annotations, and private family footage. These aren't things you'd fence at a pawn shop. They're the kind of content that people might pay to suppress or leak depending on the motive. Add to that his legal drama with Jolie, and the idea of someone looking for a bargaining chip becomes very real. Then there's the house itself. Some sources claim it contains a private screening room, soundproofed for discretion. Others whisper about a black room used for archiving footage and documents dating back to the early 2000s. No one has photos, but multiple ex-staffers described a sealed room Pitt himself referred to as the lockbox. So if someone broke in to steal a Rolex, they picked the wrong place. But if someone was looking to uncover a piece of the past, something hidden, maybe even incriminating, then there may not have been a better target in all of Los Angeles. Here's where things get seriously strange. Less than 24 hours after the burglary, sources say Pitt's legal and security teams were already working behind the scenes to control the narrative, not to clarify it, not to expose what happened, but to erase it. Fast, staff were allegedly instructed to sign updated NDAs. Hard drives were removed from the property and transported off-site. One report claims a private investigator with ties to a former intelligence agency was seen arriving through a back entrance within hours of the incident. He wasn't there to collect evidence for police. He was there to contain it. The LAPD may have been involved, but they were never fully in control. That became clear when certain camera footage reportedly went missing from the estate's internal network, and when local news stations were suddenly told the story was unconfirmed. Despite clear police involvement, public records of the initial 911 call exist, but everything else has gone dark. Insiders began referring to one man in particular, a fixer, not an official PR rep, not a lawyer, someone much quieter, someone whose name doesn't appear on any roster but who's been linked to other high-profile cover-ups involving celebrities, leaked footage, and legal scandals. His job isn't to help clean up, it's to make it look like nothing ever happened. And in Pitt's case, it looks like he succeeded at least. For now, in most burglaries, what's taken makes headlines. Jewelry, watches, electronics. But in Brad Pitt's case, the silence surrounding the stolen items has been deafening and deeply suspicious. Law enforcement refused to release a full inventory. Pitt's team declined to comment. Even TMZ, usually quick to report every celebrity wardrobe malfunction, didn't publish a thing beyond the initial incident. Why? Because according to sources close to the situation, the items taken weren't the kind you can replace. They were personal, intentional, and potentially explosive. One staffer, who worked at the estate years ago, claimed Pitt kept a locked cabinet filled with camcorder tapes from the early 2000s home recordings, behind-the-scenes clips, and intimate moments never meant for public eyes. Others mentioned a set of handwritten letters from an ex kept in a fireproof safe inside his bedroom closet. And then there are the digital files, stored on external hard drives, unconnected to the cloud, and hidden in plain sight, password protected and encrypted. If even a fraction of these rumors are true, whoever broke in knew what they were looking for. They didn't grab art or designer clothes. They went straight for the archives. That's what makes this incident different. It wasn't messy. It wasn't greedy. It was surgical. And the scariest part, we still don't know what they took or who might be holding it now. In any Brad Pitt story, there's one name that always looms in the background: Angelina Jolie. Their relationship, once the golden couple of Hollywood, imploded in public fashion. Years of red carpets turned into court dates, love letters turned into legal filings. And while both have tried to move on, the wounds from their split are still visible. So when Brad's home was broken into, the world waited for Angelina's response. But it never came. Not a tweet, not a rep statement, not a whispered denial in a tabloid. Nothing. And in a world where silence is rare, especially from someone as media-savvy as Jolie, that absence was jarring. Fans started speculating almost immediately. Was she avoiding the press to protect her kids? Was she distancing herself for legal reasons? Or did she know something she didn't want to say out loud? Dig a little deeper, and things get murky. During the divorce, rumors swirled that both sides had installed monitoring tools in their respective homes, especially after trust began to collapse. Some insiders claimed that Pitt's house had been swept for bugs multiple times. Others say it wasn't Jolie who planted them, but someone connected to her camp. No accusations have been made. No proof has surfaced. But the fact that Angelina hasn't said a word when in the past she spoke out about much less makes people wonder, is she hiding something or protecting something? Either way, her silence speaks volumes. If Brad Pitt's fortress-like estate can be infiltrated, what hope do other celebrities have? That's the question echoing across Hollywood's gated communities. Over the last few years, celebrity homes, once safe havens of luxury and privacy, have become targets. And it's not just physical intrusions anymore. Stars are being stalked through technology, their smart homes hacked, their phone data compromised, their assistants bribed. In a city built on image and illusion, the walls are crumbling and everyone's scrambling to hide what's behind them. Some celebs have responded with brute force. They're hiring ex-military bodyguards, installing anti-drone technology, even designing decoy rooms in case of home invasions. Others are retreating altogether, selling their LA properties and moving to remote locations, ranches in Montana, private islands, even bunkers in New Zealand. For them, it's no longer about escaping fans. It's about surviving exposure. Brad's break-in wasn't just a one-off. It was a signal flare, a reminder that no amount of fame or money can shield you from obsession, especially when that obsession is armed with inside knowledge and digital tools. In the aftermath, Pitt reportedly doubled his security, canceled appearances, and ordered a full audit of everyone with access to the house. The message was clear: trust no one. Because in today's Hollywood, privacy isn't just a luxury, it's a myth. And Pitt's story might be the clearest proof yet that no one is untouchable. Publicly, Brad Pitt has always projected calm, cool, collected, with a smirk that says he's always 2 steps ahead. But according to those closest to him, things behind the scenes have changed since the break-in, dramatically. Friends say he's more isolated than ever, rarely responding to messages, canceling private meetings, even skipping industry events he once loved. One insider said bluntly, "He's rattled, not just shaken, he's scared." This isn't the first time Pitt's battled inner demons. After his split with Angelina, he opened up about his struggles with alcohol and the toll that fame and fatherhood had taken on him. But this time feels different. Less emotional, more paranoid. Those around him say he's begun questioning even his own staff. Some sources suggest he's been combing through old security footage himself, frame by frame. Others claim he's moved important items out of the house, using private couriers instead of digital communication. There's even a rumor that he's considering selling the Los Feliz estate altogether, despite owning it for over 25 years. That house was supposed to be a constant, a safe space, a symbol of the old Hollywood that Pitt came up in. But now, it might be a ticking time bomb, a reminder that even your safest spaces can be breached, and that sometimes the ghosts you bury deep don't stay buried for long. Years ago, Brad Pitt starred in a lesser-known thriller that barely made waves at the box office. The plot: a man whose quiet life is shattered after strangers break into his secluded home, searching for something he doesn't realize he has. At the time, critics brushed it off as forgettable fiction. But now, fans are revisiting it with new eyes, and the parallels are chilling. The film featured eerie details, hidden camera footage, mysterious files, a character haunted by his past, and a home that turns from sanctuary to trap. Even the layout of the fictional house matches certain real-life features of Pitt's Los Feliz property, according to set insiders. It's as if the script foreshadowed something Pitt couldn't have predicted, or maybe something he always feared. What's stranger is that the movie was shelved for a while before release, and some scenes were reportedly cut due to legal issues. One version, rumored to have leaked online briefly, included a subplot about a celebrity being blackmailed using old home videos before that footage mysteriously disappeared. Sound familiar? This isn't to say Pitt's break-in was scripted, but the idea that a storyline so close to his real life exists. But in this case, it might not have been fiction at all. The more you look at the Brad Pitt burglary, the more one question sticks. Was this really about what was taken? Or was that just the cover story? because some believe the break-in was never about personal archives or secret files. It was a distraction carefully orchestrated to shift attention away from something else happening at the same time. And once you start digging, you realize the timeline overlaps with a much bigger and much quieter shift in Pitt's life. Just days before the incident, no public announcement, no fanfare. But the project reportedly involved unreleased footage from multiple film sets, private emails, and licensing contracts with powerful studios. Personal embarrassment could trigger lawsuits, breach agreements, or expose people with a lot to lose, even more suspicious. A minor fire broke out in a nearby property just hours after the break-in. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe it was a diversion designed to thin police resources. Add in the missing security footage, the fixer's rapid appearance, and the total media blackout, and you're not looking at a robbery. You're looking at a smokescreen. Something was happening beneath the surface, and the burglary may have been the distraction everyone was meant to focus on. Could be the most important piece of the puzzle. A source inside LAPD claims that, despite all the missing footage and disabled alarms, the face wasn't fully visible, but it was clear enough to recognize. Enough for authorities to quietly flag the suspect in internal reports. But here's the twist. No arrest was made, no charges filed, no suspect named, nothing. So why the silence? The most believable theory is also the most chilling. The person seen in that footage has powerful connections, someone tied to Pitt's past or to others with deep pockets and deep influence. If this person were exposed, it wouldn't just be a scandal. It could bring down names, brands, and reputations worth millions, maybe even billions. Others think the person was never meant to be seen at all, that they were just a pawn, someone sent to retrieve something and they failed, which would explain the frantic effort to contain the fallout, NDAs, data wipes, staff disappearing. If there's one image that proves this break-in was more than a crime, more than an accident, it's that frame. But as of now, no one's seen it, and maybe no one ever will, because some images aren't lost there, buried by people with the power to make the truth disappear before it's even told. When privacy is a luxury, even the rich can't. In Hollywood, where truth is more curated than any performance, what really happened that night in Los Feliz might stay locked behind mansion walls and encrypted drives. But one thing is clear, this wasn't just a burglary, it was a blueprint, a look into how far people will go to dig up the past and taken. It's how quickly the silence fell afterward. The rushed cleanup, the insider panic. It's not just the home that was broken into, it's the illusion of security. The myth that the famous and powerful are untouchable. If Brad Pitt can't keep his secrets safe, who can? Drop your theory in the comments, because the truth, it might already be out there, just waiting for someone to connect the final piece.